Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Police told Kim Zolciak to stop calling, isn't an emergency. Police have told Roa Alam, Kim Zolciak to stop calling because, at this point, it is not an emergency. The mother of 6 is embroiled in a divorce with her husband of over a decade, Kroy Bierman. Yet, things have been so dramatic that the cops are always being called. So, why did the authorities tell Kim to calm down on the calls? Keep reading for more details. For a decade, Kim Zolciak and Kroy Bierman were an extremely happy couple. He had adopted her 2 older daughters, Brielle and Ariana, from her previous relationships. They then went on to have 4 children of their own and had the perfect little family. Unfortunately, Kim loved to gamble and shop, leading to financial distress. In 2022, their lavish Georgia mansion faced foreclosure, but they dodged it until early 2023. Then, it all resurfaced and they faced an auction. Once again, they were able to get out of that, but a short time later, they filed for divorce. Allegations were thrown at one another, and though they tried to reconcile, that did not last. The police were soon called to their home, becoming a repeated event. She alleged he would not let her leave their driveway while he was at the end of his rope. They were locking themselves into bedrooms, and their poor minor children were the casualties. Just before Thanksgiving, the police were called yet again. Since their home is headed to auction, they were packing and taking down the curtains. Kim Zolciak claimed Kroy Bierman was the aggressor, but he alleged she struck him. Their children could not necessarily corroborate Kim's story, but the police want Kim to stop. A Reddit thread was started to share how they had to let Kim know they could not keep coming to Kim's home simply because of divorce spats. Followers felt awful for the children, but moreover, could not believe this was still happening. Kim Zolciak claimed Kroy Bierman was the aggressor, but he alleged she struck him. Their children could not necessarily corroborate Kim's story, but the police want Kim to stop. A Reddit thread was started to share how they had to let Kim know they could not keep coming to Kim's home simply because of divorce spats. Followers felt awful for the children, but moreover, could not believe this was still happening. The big question that followers want to know is whether will it ever end for Kim Zolciak and Kroy Bierman. This has been going on for nearly 2 years with no end in sight. I can't believe this is still ongoing. I think there is some weird ass codependency and trauma bonding with them at this point. Any relationship she has ever been in or will ever be in, will end this way. She is a terrible person. It took Kroy a very long time to figure it out. The level of selfishness exhibited by these two, who have like 6 children, is despicable. Quit calling the police over this petty crap. Grow up and act like adults. Hopefully, some resolution is reached so that they all can find peace and the children stop getting dragged into the drama. Do you agree that the police are not needed as mediators and Kim and Kroy need to work this out as adults? Finally, can you believe their divorce is still going on? Let us know in the comments. The reality TV star, famously known for her role on The Real Housewives of Atlanta, has made headlines once again, but this time for a rather unusual reason. According to recent reports, the police have asked Zolciak to stop calling them. Why? Because her calls were not related to any genuine emergencies, and authorities advised her to refrain from reaching out for non-urgent matters. Let's dive into this fascinating story. In a world where celebrities often grab attention for their glamorous lifestyles or personal drama, Zolciak's recent interactions with the police are certainly out of the ordinary. The star, who has been a part of the public eye for years, is now making headlines for a very different type of incident, a series of non-emergency calls to the authorities. Reports indicate that Zolciak contacted the police multiple times over a span of several weeks, and each time, it was determined that there was no legitimate emergency. Police were apparently quite clear in their messages to Zolciak, urging her to stop making calls that were not related to life-threatening situations or serious criminal activity. It seems that the police were simply doing their jobs, ensuring that their resources were not being diverted to frivolous issues, which could prevent them from assisting those in real need. This may seem strange to some, especially since we're talking about a celebrity who is accustomed to being surrounded by attention, drama, and public scrutiny. But it's worth considering why Zolciak might have reached out to the police in the first place. Perhaps her calls were driven by a sense of urgency, personal turmoil, or some issue in her life that she felt warranted intervention. After all, for many people, the lines between what constitutes an emergency can sometimes blur, especially when emotions are running high. While the details surrounding the nature of the calls remain unclear, there is no shortage of speculation. Kim Zolciak, known for her bold personality and public persona, could have been dealing with anything from personal conflicts, family troubles, or issues stemming from her high-profile lifestyle. Given the complexities of living under constant public scrutiny, it's not hard to imagine that Zolciak might have felt isolated, overwhelmed, or in need of support during difficult moments. In many ways, the incident also raises broader questions about the way we view emergencies and the role that public figures play in shaping those perceptions. Celebrities like Zolciak, who live their lives in the spotlight, often feel the pressure to project an image of perfection, even as they struggle with personal problems behind closed doors. This paradox can lead to confusion about what truly qualifies as an emergency and what might simply be a matter of personal stress or inconvenience. For the police, however, their priorities are clear: saving lives and responding to crises. When a call comes in that doesn't fit the criteria for an emergency, such as a dispute over a minor issue, a personal inconvenience, or an issue that could be resolved without law enforcement involvement, they are trained to assess the situation and take appropriate action. In this case, their response was simple: Zolciak's calls didn't require their intervention, and they asked her to stop contacting them unless there was a legitimate crisis. This situation also sheds light on an issue that often goes unnoticed: the strain on emergency response systems. In cities and communities everywhere, police departments and emergency services are often overwhelmed with calls. Some of these calls are undoubtedly urgent, but others can be less clear-cut, such as requests for help with non-criminal matters or personal disputes that don't require law enforcement. When resources are tied up responding to these types of calls, they may not be available to help those who truly need immediate assistance, such as victims of violent crimes, accidents, or medical emergencies. While Zolciak's case might seem unusual, it's not an isolated one. Many people, regardless of their fame or status, find themselves reaching out to authorities during moments of distress. The difference, of course, is that when someone in the public eye makes these calls, they are more likely to attract media attention. In the age of social media and constant news cycles, even a small incident can become a viral story, creating a much larger narrative than what actually occurred. This particular instance also draws attention to the broader relationship between celebrities and the public. In a world where social media provides a direct line to millions of fans, the boundary between personal life and public image is increasingly blurred. Celebrities like Kim Zolciak often face intense scrutiny, and their every move, whether it's a reality TV appearance, a social media post, or a phone call to the police, can quickly become the subject of intense public discussion. The pressure to maintain a certain image can sometimes lead to erratic behavior or poor decisions, and in this case, it appears that Zolciak's calls to the police were a result of that very pressure. In the end, what does this incident really say about Kim Zolciak? It might suggest that even those who seem to have it all together are not immune to moments of vulnerability and confusion. After all, who among us hasn't reached out for help when we were feeling lost or overwhelmed? The only difference in Zolciak's case is that her personal struggles became public fodder, a story that made headlines for all the wrong reasons. For the police, the incident serves as a reminder of the importance of keeping emergency lines open for those who truly need them. While Zolciak may not have had a legitimate emergency, There are countless others who rely on the police for help during critical moments. And for Zolciak herself, this situation could be a wake-up call, a reminder that there are other avenues for support and that reaching out to the police for non-emergency matters isn't always the best course of action. In the end, Kim Zolciak's calls to the police might be a minor chapter in her larger story, but they offer a valuable lesson about boundaries, the role of emergency services, and the complexities of living in the public eye. While she may not have been in danger, it's clear that the pressures of fame, personal drama, and public expectations can sometimes push even the most confident personalities to make questionable choices. As for the police, they did what any responsible agency would: they took action, made it clear that their resources were needed elsewhere, and gently asked Zolciak to rethink her approach in the future.